Hello and welcome back to my playthrough of Fault Milestone 2. Last time we noticed the cultural divide in this game, as well as getting a room for us to stay in. Here is your room. If you need anything, please activate the mana signature by the bed. It's a mana line straight to the receptionist. Thank you. Selphine, Rune, could you wait outside? Sure. Okay. Excuse me, could I have a word? What is it? Although we're Cerisians, we're from Barbaquove, so we didn't know a thing about Viscanta. It sure looks like it. So? Why treat Sol... No, that guide. Why the callous treatment? Could you explain what brought this about? I'd like to know the details and gain some insight into this. Unlike his wife, the owner's expression doesn't change much. I can't tell what he's thinking just by the look on his face. Okay then. Well, you called him a Visky, right? What did you mean by that? Visky means someone from Viscanta. Is it normal to call people from Viscanta Viskies? There's no need to call them Viscantans. Visky is plenty good for the likes of them. Ah, I understand. Thanks and sorry for your time. My pleasure. Enjoy your stay. Oh, that face. I get it now. Visky is a slur. Well done. Ritona, what was that all about? Why did Sol just get thrown out like that? I think that there's a lot of discrimination between the people of Neo-Sassari against Viscantians. Discrimination? I knew it. From the guards stationed outside and the way this town isolates itself, something had to be up. Ritona, Rune, why would Sol intentionally bring us here to a place where he's discriminated against? Maybe it's because I asked him for the safest place to stay. But wouldn't he hate coming here, even if it was for work? Especially for us, we didn't know anything about this town, so he could have just brought us someplace else and we wouldn't have known. Now that you mention it, Sol is rather different, isn't he? But he can't be a bad kid, I just know it. Not bad, no, but you just can't tell what's going on in his head. He seemed to be worried about something the entire time. Oh? Worried? Who, Sol? Yeah. It didn't seem like it to me. It's like he was there physically but not emotionally, as if he was guiding us around begrudgingly. Unbelievable. Did he show any signs of that? As far as I could tell, he was happy to show us around. Remember when you were being mean to him? It didn't bother him at all. It's like he didn't care. To me, it looked like he just wanted to get it over and with and go home. I wonder. Maybe his being alone was a lie. Maybe he isn't completely alone. There has to be someone else. Someone depending on him. During dinner, he wasn't with us the whole time, right? I think he was with that other person. Sally, that's amazing. All I saw was an energetic young boy. Well, let's put the topic of Sol aside for the moment. There's no point in speculating when we don't even have a clear grasp of our own situation. Don't forget, our main objective is to return to Rosenheide as quickly as possible. Sol is quite the mystery himself, but we can't forget our primary goal. You're right. We're still a long ways from home. Let's focus on our plans for tomorrow. Any objections, Rune? No, I'm totally okay with that. You, Selphine? None here. It didn't seem like Sol was in any danger either. Good, let's start with tomorrow's itinerary. Whether or not we meet up with Sol, the first thing we need to do tomorrow morning is to procure sediment stones. Ah, that's right, I totally forgot about it. If you don't mind me asking, Returner, you were also looking for sediments back in Cadia. What do you need it for? I know it'll be for Manacraft, at least. I need to have a line of communication between Selphine and me. On the off chance that we ever get separated, the most important thing is to stay in touch. Do you mean that you can't use Manacraft without sediment stones? Oh, wait, but I remember you used it back in the tavern, didn't you? I personally don't have issues using Manacraft, but I do. Comcraft allows us to have an almost permanent communication mana line with each other by using our own mana. It would be easy if it were between another crafter and me, since I just use my mana. But royalty, we're not allowed to use our mana for Manacraft. All the Manacraft I perform is fueled by Returner giving me some of hers. Why go through all the trouble? They say that your lifespan is shortened every time you use mana. Living as long as possible is a necessity for royalty, so as a ruler, they should avoid using mana when it's not needed. It's also to help to prevent any incidents like episodes of Empress Syndrome occurring. If royalty were to use Manacraft, the path down would also become unstable. Basically, they told me to not aggravate it any more than I had to. So that's why I can only use Manacraft that doesn't need me to expend any mana, things like mind diving where I just read the other person's mana. This sounds awfully complicated. It does, but it's really quite simple. Right now, Selphine shouldn't use Manacraft when I'm not around. So opening a Comcraft line without sediment would be too dangerous. That's the gist of it. I see. Getting separated would be a huge hassle then. And it's not like we can just set a meeting place whenever we want to either. Oh yes, Rune, can you use Manacraft? Not at all. Well, I can't use Manacraft, but if you need to get in touch, then you can use this transceiver. I always have it with me at all times. Right, I forgot about that. That's good to know. Transceiver. It's something Rudo gave to me. The two devices have something like a Comcraft mana line between them that lets you talk with each other. Whoa, that kind of stuff exists. Next on the agenda, we'll need to plan out a route for going back home. I'd really like to map out the shortest possible route, but just looking at this map isn't going to help much. The world map we got from Cadia is missing far too much information. Looks like we have no choice but to fill in the blanks with the local maps from each country that we travel to. I wonder if there's someone here who's more knowledgeable about that. The best place to look would be a tavern. Should we check it out during the day? Worst comes to worst, we may have to stay in Sassari till late tomorrow. I can't say for sure, I'm totally clueless about this place. For starters, does Neo Sassari even have a tavern? I would think this city would have at least one pub. Good point. I remember hearing people talk about a tavern. It was up on the surface near the restaurant we ate at. It sounded like they just came from one. They did? Well then. Ugh, my head. I began to sweat profusely. It's as if my body is enveloped in ice. And suddenly it returns to normal. Retona? Retona, are you alright? You look really pale. What just happened? It's disturbing how I didn't feel any bodily pain. As if my body was stabbed with a knife, but I was numbed and lost all sense of pain. I'm fine, really. Being hit by a sudden loss of control over my body. It's almost like a seizure. Retona, let's just rest for now, okay? You really must be tired. Yes, I must be. We still have a long journey ahead of us, so you need to take care of yourself. You're right. After that seizure, my body is back to normal. My heart's beating a little faster than usual, but that's more out of surprise than anything. I'll go get some water. No, let me. I'll get some for you. No, both of you stay here. I'll get some for you. Sally, just be here for Retona. Retona, you and Sally just rest up for now. Rune. Thanks. Ah, hey, wait! I'll be right back. What about the language issues? I think I should be able to get some from the reception. Water, water. Excuse me, I'd like a glass of water. Rune near the water. Oh no! I totally forgot I can't understand what they're saying. I'd like a drink. Maybe he'll understand if I act it out. Look, yes. Wow, that got awkward. I'm back. Here's the water. Thanks. What? Wait, what's the matter? No, it's just that I'll go cool off outside. She needs to cool off. I knew she'd have language issues. Rune? Rune. Come in, Rune. Brother? Terrible connection on my end here. I can barely hear you. Do you copy over? Brother, what's all this all of a sudden? Are you crying? I see. You couldn't understand each other at all because of language issues. Exactly. And I don't want to keep asking Sally and Retona to translate for me either. I feel like such dead weight for them. That's quite the problem, huh? Only made even more difficult because of how you never think before you act. Ooh. You're going to be travelling to all sorts of countries. Isn't it common sense to think about how to deal with the language barrier? I was just so overcome with joy that I never even stopped to consider that. Well, don't panic. As we speak, the members of Lab 9 are analysing the erratum that Returner and Selphine used. It won't be any time soon, but you'll eventually be equipped with a similar function. What? What? What do you mean by that? Ask Albus for the details. He's the one in charge of analysis and development. Wait, what? Rune, can you hear me? Albus? Yes, I can hear your kind voice, loud and clear. Nothing like Rudo's. Well, excuse me. Oops, did he overhear? Anyway, about development of that error-ratum. Oh, yes. Am I really going to be able to use it too? This is all happening so fast, I'm absolutely lost. Actually, we've been able to upgrade our systems so that we can remotely control your manoware. What, is that even possible? Every sister is connected to the Zevets Enterprise with a special mana line in case of an emergency. This means that we can transmit any information about your manoware directly to you. Does that mean that I have a direct Comcraft line inside me, like Selphine and Retona? Yes, the principle is similar to the transceiver that you have with you now. Science, isn't it amazing? But wait, even if you could push new features directly into my manoware, it would need much more mana bandwidth than what we would normally use for conversation, right? You're right. Manoware pretty much makes up your core existence, so we need some allowance for safety reasons. That's why we've allocated roughly 3 to 4 times the normal bandwidth needed for communication. So long as nothing too extreme happens, we should have more than enough to spare. But wouldn't that cost a huge amount of money? Well, quite. Well, that was the official reason for Lab 9 conducting field tests on new technology. Russell. The truth is, Rune wanted to support you as much as he could for your journey. Aww. Before you left, he ordered your mana connections bandwidth to be increased by quite a lot. Wow, my brother did? I couldn't think of any other reason. He practically had a shouting match with the board of directors about it. Brother. Just like always. I hope you cut him some slack. He still needs to work on his people skills. He really does. You know, it feels as if we've already been apart for 1.5 years. 1.5 years, huh? I wonder why. I know you all just left earlier this morning, but even I feel the same way. Oh well, I knew I could depend on Rune. He's my big brother after all. Anyway, back to error-ratum. I've actually been curious about it ever since I've met those two. Thanks to Retona and Selphine, I was able to witness firsthand a kind of manacraft called the Mind Dive. I was able to observe the process of packaging mana when Selphine communicated with me during the dive. That gave me a hint on how to do it. I thought that I might be able to replicate it through scientific techniques. Really? Is error-ratum simple enough that you could imitate it just by a quick observation? That's the thing. While I've experienced it myself, figuring out how to replicate it is pretty difficult. Still, a linguistic system that allows everyone to understand each other. It definitely has some aspects in common with the essence of what science is. Using mana as a vehicle for one's own thoughts and consciousness. Whoever thought of the concept is undoubtedly a genius. Basically, it's like constructing a universal mannerism that makes the other person understand what you're trying to convey. Thinking of words as nothing, but various wavelengths might make it easier to comprehend. Really? By assigning a different frequency and amplitude to each concept, represented by a word, you could convey information regardless of what language you spoke. And then you package it, send it as mana, so that the other person can more easily interpret it. Sorry if I'm interrupting. I don't think I understood even a word of what you just said. Oh dear, sorry about that. Nidste and the others and I were talking about the workings of error-ratum just now, and I couldn't help but want to share. I didn't know Albus could be so passionate about this. we should be able to complete the prototype by tomorrow? Tomorrow? That's fast. It's not like we need to create a physical prototype anyway. It's nothing more than figuring out how to package it as mana. There will probably be some issues that need to be ironed out, but we'll continue to send you updates as we improve it. It'll take a while before it's perfect, so just be patient. Of course. And there you have it. We'll be sending you the error rate and protocol one of these days. Rune, we're counting on you for the field tests. Yes. Leave it to me. Oh, and... Huh? How is it? The outside world. Brother, it's like, you know, just... Yeah. Looks like your vocabulary mana bank is malfunctioning. That's not it. How do I say this? It hasn't even been a day since I left Cadia, and I've already had so many new experiences. How do I put it? It's full of overwhelmingness. Oh wow, you can't speak. Rudo, you'll never guess where I am now. I'm in a city at the bottom of the ocean, right in the middle of the Vita stream that Dad researched. Can you believe it? A city at the bottom of the ocean. Port Sassari in Viscanta, right? And bottom of the ocean would have to mean you're in Neo Sassari. Was it Ratona's idea? Good thing I made sure to give you a lot of extra money. No way. Rudo, how did you... Geez, you know everything, don't you? At the very least, I'm pretty familiar with Viscanta. Especially with Sassari. After all, High-Vez's flagship facility is located there. Anyway, back to Everratum. I've actually been curious about it ever since I met those two. No, that can't be. How did they manage to get a contract? It's a long story. Well, regardless, don't stay in Sassari too long. If you're in Neo Sassari especially, then you should already have noticed. That town. Well, I don't really want to say this, but Viscanta isn't a good place to be in right now. What do you mean by that? It happened over 10 years ago. Viscanta was on the verge of collapse until Ceres invested heavily in its development. Now there's a huge gap between the rich and the poor for those two countries. I had a feeling that was the case. Things felt off. I'll be straight with you. With the way things are, tensions between Viscanta and Ceres are at their peak. Unfortunately, the ship arrived late, so you had no choice but to stay the night, but you need to leave as early as you can. What do you mean by... Rudo, we're just about at our limit for the mana. We need to end the transmission soon. Did you get that, Rune? We don't have much time left for this transmission. Ah, yes. That place shouldn't pose that much of a threat. For now, at least. As long as you're with Ratona, you shouldn't be in any danger. Just all you stand to gain by staying there is bad memories. Okay. I understand, Rudo. Hope to hear from you soon, Rune. Likewise. Good night, everyone. And with that, I am going to stop this video here. If you want to watch more Fault Milestone 2, please leave a like in this video and subscribe to my channel to watch more of my content. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.